Hey y'all, it's your boy Ace Billions here with the Elite Investor Podcast. I got my guy John here with me today, and he's an expert when it comes to industrial real estate investing. And I'm glad he made it today, all the way from Boston, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you,
made it, man.
man.
Thank
Thanks,
you for
Ace.
coming, man, and tuning in with us today.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Love
tell us a
being
little bit
here.
about yourself, man. What you do, and how'd you get started in the real estate game?
Yeah, absolutely. I am an owner operator in a lot of multi-tenant industrial flex, shallow bay. There's a bunch of names for it.
Hmm.
In the industrial flex real estate throughout the country. Um, Currently, we're in North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Louisiana, Texas, and North Dakota.
Okay.
And we're closing in about a month in the Norfolk, Virginia market.
Okay.
Um, Excited for that. And yeah, I mean, they're, um, you know, 15 to 50,000 square foot assets.
Wow. Huge.
Um,
Yeah.
they're big.
Yeah.
They're
I
commercial.
like it. Yeah.
They pay for themselves and they pay the investors.
Awesome.
So
So, how'd you get into that industry? What made you, what inspired you to get into real estate in the
yeah.
first place?
So my background is construction management. We I worked for a big national general contractor, building a lot of commercial
Okay.
buildings, warehouses, multifamilies, hotels, high rise, skyscrapers, casinos,
Oh, so
all over the
you
country.
started in the game, like getting your
I
hands dirty, and
well,
you were a guy building the
I
things.
wasn't doing the work. I
Yeah.
was managing the work,
Okay. Wow.
right? So you're leveraging people,
Teams. Yeah.
right? Teams. You're building a team to build a building, and that is so. I think a lot of that works in the commercial real estate game,
Right.
the investing game, because you need teams to do the investing, right?
100%.
And really, it's kind of the next step. You put together and you build the buildings, and then you own and operate
Right.
the buildings. You keep them leased. You put business plans together,
Yeah.
and you know,
So, and I think that's a great subject and great topic in a whole is having the operations, having the systems in place, having that leadership in place. Because a lot of us, like when we first get started in real estate, we are solo entrepreneurs still. We
yeah,
still hustling. We still working for our every dollar,
yeah,
going after each sale. And then we go into this investing aspect where we're looking for cash flow and we building up a team and
yeah,
we setting up our systems and our processes and our VAs and stuff like that.
yeah.
What you feel like was the point where you was like, okay, it's time for us to scale. Did you already kind of have that leadership bug and the team bug, like you wanted to build a team first?
Yeah, I was telling you earlier, I'm a twin.
Oh,
So
yeah,
to
okay,
to
yeah, you
me,
did
it's
tell me.
always been like we,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So ever, growing up, it was always like we, we're gonna do this,
Yeah,
and the whole collaboration part of it, it was always in my mind,
right,
and so it was a pretty easy transition to get into we. Now, the whole thing about delegation,
mm,
that's a whole nother animal, because we're still figuring that out, and
right,
like how to delegate the tasks of owning and operating these assets and all that. But um, it's a lot of, the commercial real estate is a lot of collaboration.
right.
And that's kind of the big thing in this game,
Yeah,
as
we
you
did.
know.
Talked about the twins. I got twins too, and I do see that. Like they always they together, and they got that we aspect. They
Yeah.
never want to go off and do stuff by themselves. They always tagging along together.
Yeah.
I think that's even. I mean, I'm like that now. It's like I always believed in the team. I'm an athlete, so
Yeah.
playing football was always like doing it for the team. We had
Yeah.
that why.
Yeah.
It was always a bigger picture. What's your why? Like what was your what
Um,
makes you want to do what you do?
So my why is obviously I have a wife and a daughter,
Mm-hmm.
and another daughter on the way coming in
Congratulations.
November.
Okay,
Thank you,
yeah.
man.
Okay.
So obviously the family aspect, but then back when I was 17, so 18 years ago now, I was in a car accident,
Wow.
and I basically, long story short, coma for 2 weeks, rehab, and basically had to start my life over at 17. And I'm very fortunate to be
Yeah,
here.
100%, man.
And, kind of the whole thing of, it's not, you're not gonna live forever, but really enjoy your time here
Right.
because it can be, set things up, enjoy your life, and don't spend all the time working, or if you are working a lot, at least enjoy it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And do something you love and give back, and you know, pass pass it on.
Yeah.
So
That's huge, man.
and that was a big moment in my life, but yeah.
And that moment, that was the kind of the thing that opened your eyes a lot to just building up a future for yourself. I mean, you had got another chance at life. Thank
Yeah,
God, man.
I
God
mean,
is good for yeah,
amen.
all the time.
Yeah,
For sure.
yeah,
So
and that's if especially when you're given a second chance,
mm,
you really want to make the most of it. You want to impact lives. You want to share your story and help others. It's never just you.
right.
It's the we mentality, and
Yeah.
getting on a team like that is.
Yeah. Has real estate done that for you? Do you feel like it changed your life since you started it?
Yeah, I think you can really impact a lot of people, and um, I know I have investors in multiple assets
Yeah.
throughout the country, and they're all over the country, and it's great to work with them
Yeah.
again and again and again, and that's really our biggest our team's biggest thought on it is we would rather have investors invest in multiple deals
Mm-hmm.
and then just one deal.
Right.
We want them to keep coming back
Right.
and just bringing them from deal to deal.
So do you have like a fund set up?
We don't do funds. We
Uh,
do syndication structures,
Okay.
um, which so that's another story. Um, I started in real estate in 2013. I started in commercial in 18, and then for about 5 years ago, I I was working with my brother. My brother and I put together some
Your
money.
twin?
My twin brother and I,
Yeah.
we put together some money and we bought our second commercial asset
Okay.
out of state. Was cash flowing like pretty good on acquisition, and then we came to the realization, our money, our liquidity is only going to take us so far.
Right.
We're going to run out. So we have to work with partners. We got to bring, you know, and that's when I joined Grant Cardone,
Mm.
and I learned the whole syndication piece, and then I joined Rod Cleef, and Rod and his team, they were integral in kind of getting to that next level. Grant Cardone was integral in getting to that next level through expanding mindset,
Right.
and the mentorship piece is extremely powerful, because if you want to go far, you're gonna be able to get there faster
Mm-hmm.
with a mentor.
Right.
in these mentorship programs, but you got to really pay attention and know how that mentor teaches,
Mm-hmm.
because if you join the wrong mentorship, you could be like, oh, I'm not going to learn, or I'm not learning anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you're never going to take action.
Yeah.
Right. And I've seen a lot of people that bought into the programs and then didn't really get anything out of it
Yeah.
because they didn't have the right mindset, or they were expecting more than they got. And obviously that's a little unfortunate, but you know
Yeah, I mean, and that's the same thing with any team.
yeah
If you hop on, when I was playing football, it kind of translates to everything in a way. Now that I'm starting to see and be involved in with a lot of coaches, that you got to show up as a player.
amen, man.
You got,
You gotta be
yeah, you got to be willing
there.
to put in the work. You got to be willing to do exactly what the coach tells you to do in order to see the results. I mean, the blueprint is already there, and choose the right coach at the end of the day. If you can't get in touch with them, if you can't talk to them, or you don't feel like
Yeah,
you engaged or you seen, it's the same thing on any team. Like, I always wanted to choose the best coach. I never looked at like, oh, let me get on a team and I'm just gonna shine.
yeah,
Who can I get under that I can learn the most from, that I can talk to, and that I can show up for?
yeah,
Because at the end of the day, you working towards your dream, and when the coach is just there to assist you and
yeah,
give you the knowledge so that you can skip those trials and those
yeah.
errors that a lot of us go through.
Exactly, and the errors.
Yeah,
You bring up the errors, and that's what a lot of coaches and mentors will sell you on,
yeah,
is that they're gonna advise you and you know share their mistakes
hmm
and where they went wrong. And it's just like building businesses. It's the same thing with sports.
hmm
Any sort of coaching, that is how you have to look at it.
yeah.
And
Yeah, I'm glad you said Grant Cardone too. That's my guy. Grant Cardone
Grant,
is my guy. I always talk about him in all my podcasts.
yeah,
Uh,
10x.
10X, yeah. That low key, that's Grant Cardone's whole coaching program changed my life. Just
Yeah,
his sales training. That's
yeah,
kind of how I started the entrepreneur journey, is going through his courses with the Cardone University,
yeah,
and
yeah,
then building
yeah,
up my sales skills, and then
yeah.
I literally everything I do have the essence, and have that same don't be a little bitch
Don't be a
concept.
little. I
DLB,
say that all the time.
yeah, that's what gets me up. Like,
Yeah,
when I
right.
when I
It gets you pumped,
yeah.
get you ready to, do anything.
Yeah, 100%.
That when you get in that mindset, that's when you're gonna make things happen, and
Hmm.
that's where it's at.
I love it. Yeah. So what would you say for somebody just getting started in real estate? What should they do just to get started? Should they go get a license? Should they hop in the game? Just raw
So
dog it?
I, yeah,
Yeah.
do
Just
that, do that.
yeah, that'll work.
No, I'd say definitely work towards getting a coach that kind of aligns with the goals that you're trying to achieve, aligns with what you're trying to achieve.
Right.
But I'd also get involved, um, because these mentorships, these programs, they cost some money.
Yeah.
And it's not a joke. Not something to be like, oh yeah. I mean, unless you have that kind of money.
Right.
But it's an investment, right? It's an investment in you. It's an investment in your time. And like you were saying earlier, you got to show up,
Hmm.
and you got to, because if you're not there, if you're not, a lot of these coaching programs will be weekly,
Hmm.
right? Or, bi-weekly, and, it's an hour, 2 hours. And if you're not there paying attention, taking notes, involved in the calls, participating in the calls, then, what are you going to get out of it?
Right.
and who's gonna know you, right? A lot of these programs are the fact that now everyone in that program knows what you're about,
Right.
and knows they can see that you're trying and that you're networking, and that
Mm-hmm.
if you're always in their face, they're gonna remember you.
Right.
They're gonna remember, oh, that kid's the commercial real estate guru and
Mm-hmm.
all that stuff. And I mean, I can say that Grant Cardone, because I showed up a bunch of times, he gave me an opportunity that very that I thought really got me to that next level, where he called a broker for me a couple times in front of everyone on the calls.
Oh yeah.
Which was probably 200 people.
Mm-hmm.
And he was calling this broker that was like probably one of the biggest brokers in the whole world.
Wow.
By like transactional volume, probably 60, 70 billion of lifetime transactions. Bill Ruhan with CBRE.
Okay.
In
I've heard of him. Yeah.
Tyson's Corner.
Yeah.
Tyson's Corner, DC, Maryland, the DMV area.
Mm-hmm.
And, he called Bill for me and had a conversation, and was like, I heard you're working with my man, Jon Sidoti. And,
Hey.
it was great. It was, I got a really good chance at like a $130 million acquisition.
Wow.
And I mean, we got outbid, but
you got the experience.
I got the experience.
Yeah.
And that is invaluable.
That's where it's at.
Right?
Just getting in the game and really learning. Even if you lose, you learn.
Yeah. And then, I mean, and that is what kind of got me in the industrial.
Yeah.
And doing the flex space, because, the multifamily was bid up so much.
Yeah.
And I was just like, investing. The whole point of investing is to make money. And, a lot of multifamily is speculation. We're going to invest this amount of capital. We're not going to see a return for 2 years. And then, we're going to put $5 million in renovations. Mm-hmm. Over years 1 and 2. We're going to renovate 150 units. And then, 2 years out, we're going to have rents, 1.5 times what they're charging today.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, how do you project that?
Right.
And what like, there are so many things that can go wrong. Not to knock multifamily.
No.
Multifamily's great.
That makes sense, though. Yeah.
But where are your hedges, right?
Right.
How are you hedged in 10,000 units hitting the market?
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Over the next 20 months.
Yeah.
Right. You're not. You're exposed. But a lot of our business plans, cash flow day one, distribution 6 months out. We'll do them sooner if we can.
And you said something that kind of stuck with me. You said somebody asked you why you chose industrial. You said it just made sense. So tell
why does it make sense?
Yeah, exactly. Tell us why it makes sense, man.
So we like industrial. So I put the buildings together. I worked with a lot of contractors, the electricians, the plumbers, the HVAC, the blue collar guys, because first of all, their work is not going to be taken over by robots. It's not going to be replaced by AI.
Right.
So
they actually are growing.
There's always going to be demand for that.
Yeah, it's always a demand.
And especially now more than ever, if you want to make money, you go become a plumber.
Yeah.
Or you go be an electrician.
And a lot of us are buying buying the those same companies is because of the baby boomers are going
Yeah,
out, they selling, and people are buying them and revamping them, putting technology in them, so they'll still be here afterwards. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I get that for sure.
And those companies, th- they're salt of the earth.
Mm.
They're good people, and
Hard working,
yeah, they're hardworking, and those are the companies that we want to see win, right?
right,
That's what makes America great,
right.
and so that part makes sense, right? Those contractors, they're gonna be busy. They're gonna be paying their rent. We like the whole idea of B2B, right?
I
So
love
now
that.
we're renting to a business, not to a tenant,
Hmm.
right? Not to a family, not to a single mom with 3 kids that, you know,
Or got a Section 8, or kind of got a,
yeah,
or might
and
not, might get laid off, especially with this economy. Everybody,
yeah,
you know what I
and
mean? So,
you just obviously you want to hedge to that,
right.
right? But the whole idea behind B2B is if that business succeeds,
You
so do we.
succeed. Yeah.
But that also means, there's the trickle effect where you can't overpay for a property because then you're going to be charging way too much to your tenants. You're going to force your tenants out, or you're going to make them go bankrupt,
Right.
and they're not going to win. We have this mindset, we win, they win, or it's more, they win, everyone else wins, and then we win.
Yeah.
Um,
So in real estate, there's this thing called value add,
yeah,
right? And then multifamily, most of the time, the value add is adding a park, raising the rents, adding other utilities, or adding other conveniences for the tenants. How do you value add in an industrial?
um, I mean, you can value add through security
Mm.
um, measures, cameras, fence, gates. But then you can also value add through updating units, adding office space,
Right.
tenant improvements. Um, I mean, there are a number of ways
So,
that you can make their business lives easier.
right.
So,
Okay. Yeah.
adding parking or paving instead of rocks or dirt, you know, um, that all improves the value of the property, the experience for the tenant,
Okay.
but then also kind of knowing your market,
Hmm.
right? And just bringing your rents to market um, at turnover.
Right.
You don't want to be, like we said earlier, you don't want to be just increasing rent um, on the tenants for no reason
Right.
or against the contract. So,
That makes sense. Yeah.
but yeah,
So I know you talked about a little bit about taking a um,
modified gross lease.
modified gross lease.
And so modified gross lease is where you typically in your rent you include the utilities, taxes, insurance, and your different expenses that you have, and then um, that modified gross you include that in the rent, and then you transfer it over to a triple net lease structure, which is where you will basically push that off on the tenant.
Okay. Okay.
So now the tenant assumes responsibility of paying those expenses, and you're kind of hedged the fact that you don't pay that, the increase of those expenses.
Okay. So you kind of become like a partner with them and taking care of the property in a way.
Well, yeah, it's
Yeah.
more in their best interest to
Yeah. To
take
keep it up.
care,
Yeah.
keep up the property, keep
Yeah.
the efficiency all that stuff.
I love that. Wow.
So, I mean, it's so interesting.
Yeah, that is. That's huge, and especially because the majority of our viewers are business owners that want to get into real estate or they've been in real estate.
Yeah.
That industrial sounds like the move. Like this is what we and retail and industrial kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah, retail and industrial do go hand in hand. You know, they're both great assets.
What's some of the biggest obstacles that you face in this industry that could kind of stick out to you? That could help people kind of help them avoid that, making that same.
I mean, obviously getting on a good team, getting on a team with people that say that do what they say they're gonna do. So working with good teams, and learning about the capital raising, learning about the everything, getting involved in all of it, and communication's a big piece. Making sure you communicate clear and effectively, all that.
Have you had to raise capital for any of your deals?
Yeah, we raise capital on every deal.
Okay.
Well,
Gotcha.
I mean, we've been doing a lot of deals in that $2 to $10 million range. It's kind of a niche, and we focus on that. But yeah, we'll raise a couple million for a deal, and then move to the next one, and try and do 4 or 5 deals a year.
Gotcha.
So
yeah, because a lot of people, I mean, raising capital is essential, man.
It's not easy.
Yeah, it's not easy, but it's essential. I see like every deal. A lot of people think that they got to go in a deal by themselves. Like they gotta come up with the money. They gotta stay.
Yeah.
They try to save the money.
Yeah.
Or they.
Well, you can do it that way.
Yeah.
But it's gonna take you a long time.
Right.
And that deal probably won't be there, so you'll have to find 3 more deals before you get all that money.
Yeah, exactly.
Or you get the deal on the contract, and then you go and call 10 of your best friends. I was telling Chris last night, and then we went to breakfast this morning, but we were talking, you look at any skyline, and every one of those buildings are owned by someone, some group, some entity, right? And then why can't that be you, me, and 10 of our best friends, and then we get the cash flow, we get the appreciation, we get the tax benefits.
You can.
Right?
They can.
And that's the value of these syndications.
Yeah.
Because, I know a lot of the current vehicles that you can get into those investments, they don't share in all that stuff.
Oh no.
You pay your insurance. They own a lot of those buildings.
Yeah.
The big buildings, right? And
you don't even know you paying for people to buy.
You don't even know. And then,
buying buildings.
And your policy only works because they take that cash flow and
it's backed by real estate.
Yeah, it's backed by real estate. And and then like some of the REIT structures, they give you just enough. They won't give you more, even if they get more. And but the thing that really opened my eyes was when I learned that you, me, and 10 of our best friends can now put that together and go buy those buildings.
Yeah.
Because that is and we can make money doing it.
Yeah. And that's what it's all about, man. It's about ownership. It's about being able to leverage, and it's about being able to collaborate with people and build.
Yeah.
because uh, everybody think that they got to do it on their own. And if you can find a good team and you can structure a deal and you can raise the capital, then you could take over the world. I
Yeah.
mean, that's what it's
Yeah.
all about,
You,
man. You could
you
do
can
whatever
go a
you want.
lot farther
Exactly.
with a team,
Yeah.
right? When you have a team backing you, you all share in responsibility. And that's very powerful.
That is.
So,
I love it. Well, I appreciate that, man. I want you to leave the people with a message, man. What's a quote, a book, or something inspiring for them that they can just hold on to and take with them. If you can leave us with something,
yeah.
what you got?
Oh man, put me on the spot
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
always hot. That's the hot seat.
Yeah, let me think about that. I mean, I think let's all get there together,
Yeah.
and that is we're all trying, or we're all going through this
Mm.
together. We might as well work together,
Right.
right? And I don't know.
Oh,
That's kind of what stays in my mind.
I love it.
You
Yeah,
know.
man. Build your team. Make sure that you surround yourself with people like my guy John that just is a go getter that believes in and sees the bigger picture and has a vision to build the skyline or buy it. You know what I mean? Like
Own the
or own the
skyline, right?
skyline.
Operate the skyline.
Exactly, and
Let's
that's what it's
go.
all about. So think bigger and dream bigger, and you can have whatever you want out here. So I appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate your time, man. Thank you.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Ace.
let's do this
For
again.
real.